This is Believing Buckeyes. I'm Brian Browning with All-American cornerback Chindy Checkwa. We got a great show for you. Our guys go on the road. But, Chim, this show is brought to you by Bet Online. Tell the people about Bet Online.
Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. If you think you know your stuff, get in on a $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head over to the online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. I stay away from the slot games myself, but a lot of casino games that you could play. Head to the website, get in on the action, bet online. That's where the game starts.
And if you have any issues with gambling, always feel free to reach out to 1-800-GAMBLER. They're 24/7, help you out everything you may need in that category. Hey, man, I always wanted to talk about that. That pick 5 games for a chance to share 200. Man, I could do that, man. I feel like I could try my luck there.
Yeah, I think I got a chance at doing it too. So I might dabble in it.
Yeah, throw a little something on that, man. Hey, man, but our Ohio State Buckeyes, they had their first Big Ten game. They also had their first road test. Traveling up to East Lansing to play the Michigan State Spartans, and our Buckeyes, they played well. They came out on top, 38-7. Night game. It was a pretty intense environment up there. What's your early thoughts on that game? Our guys going up there and taking care of business, and also in general, man, that's how you feeling, man?
I feel good,
traveling
man.
this weekend, right?
Yeah, I feel good, man. I had a good weekend. Traveled to Vegas this weekend. Got to watch the Raiders play the Browns. Right?
Okay. My Brownies. Yeah.
Rooting for the Raiders, the team that drafted me. But yeah, man, I got to watch the game. It was a business trip for those guys, and they took care of business. I like what I saw. I like the togetherness. I like the attention to detail. I like, the hard. They just played hard, right?
Yeah.
And that's an important thing. Playing on the road in the Big Ten, man. I don't care who it is. Like, and we always. A lot of times as fans, you discount the opponent, but you can't underestimate a Big Ten matchup on the road. Those guys took care of business, so I love what I saw all across the board.
Yeah. Like I said, we win that game 38-7. Obviously, that's looks pretty good. In the score on the scorecard. But at halftime, the score was 24-7, and it was a little tight 24-7. Right? Michigan State had definitely did some things that they could hang their hat on in that first half of that game. Obviously, Ohio State took the chance when they had opportunities. They turned it to points. Where Michigan State, when they had opportunities, they was not able to do so. But I guess first standout defense only allowed 7 points. What's your thought about the defense and how they performed up there in East Lansing?
Yeah, I think the defense continues to take care of business overall. If you look at the stats across the board, it was a good day, right? Now, early on, Michigan State, and you got to, Michigan State is a well-coached football team. They've shown so far this year that they can go out there and make some plays, and they did just that early on. The defense had to continue to tighten down, and what I really liked about the defense is just the forcing turnovers, man, running, hitting, stripping the ball, like forcing Michigan State. Okay, you may have got 10 yards on this play, but now you gotta hold on to the football because we're stripping at it, we're hitting you, and they were able to force turnovers. And really, that's the difference. If I'm Michigan State, the difference in the game, the first half, was they ended drives turning the ball over, and Ohio State, gotta give kudos to them. They forced those turnovers, so. Defense went out there overall, played a good game. Obviously, there's some things to clean up. Michigan State was able to make some of the similar run plays that we saw prior in terms of spreading the defense out and running the ball at the quarterback. They also got some good runs with the running back, but it wasn't a lot. Well, I don't know, what was the rushing total for?
Total was only like 47 yards, but you got a lot of negative play. You got sacks and things of that nature. But as far as the running backs, they still only had about maybe 60 yards combined. The two guys that got the carry. So obviously, like you say, it's still a pretty solid day. I think it was just pretty impressive, like you say. You always talk about a defense, a bend don't break type of defense. This past Saturday we had a bend, but we take the ball away type of defense, right?
Yeah.
Michigan State had some opportunities definitely early to feel good about what they were called, right? Because the coaches did a great job. They got the guys the ball, they executed to the point, right? And it was driving in the red zone, and then boom, like you say, our guys was being feisty, playing hard, and ripping and stripping at the ball, and ended up getting 2 fumbles that led to turnovers that really kind of dictated the gap that we had going into halftime of that game. Like I say, leading at halftime 24-7.
Yeah, a few things to clean up, and it's really more so just better technique, right? A lot of times the coverage was a little bit soft, which I'm fine with to have soft coverage. You just got to have an aggressive mindset and be able to be, really technique sound so that you're not giving up too much, right? So I think that's something to clean up. I think the linebacker play improved, but I think there's still some opportunity to better read and react there as well. So I think those guys continue to grow. But yeah, overall solid day for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And then one thing I want to just kind of call out, speaking of the defense and linebackers, I noticed in this game, typically our base defense, we play with 2 linebackers, but against a unit here where I guess we assumed that was going to get more run, they plugged Arvell Reese into the lineup kind of early and right into the middle of the defense. Had Cody Simon playing more of a wheel, Sonny Styles playing kind of on that strong side, kind of over the tight end. And I think that unit, it looked pretty well. Like I think they was kind of, after they got settled in, they did a pretty solid job at run defense in my mind.
Yeah, I like that. I would like even better. They walk Sonny Styles up a little bit and put him on the edge. Put him on the edge, man. He got some good blitzes in there. But I think that against, some of the bigger personnel, to be able to stop the run, right? Sometimes these teams come in with two tight ends. And a guy like Arvell Reese, getting him on the field is always a great thing because he's a baller, man. He's a guy that goes. He has a nose for the ball. He's gonna make plays. So seeing him on the field early was something I like to see.
Yeah, that's for sure. I want to give some guys some shout out, man. I mean, obviously we know this year we had a quarterback come in the transfer portal. We got a star true freshman wide receiver in Jeremiah Smith and the plays he made on Saturday. But for this being a Big Ten opener on the road, I feel like we had like some veteran leadership, some guys that we've been in our program for a while, some team captains really go out there and show out. And first off, I want to say shout out G. Scott Jr. Haven't seen G. Scott much this season, right? A couple catches here and there. I'm not even sure if he even played last week. I don't recall seeing him. But this past Saturday, he kind of went out there and early kind of set the tone. I mean, he was making some blocks on the edge. He catches the open touchdown at the start of the second quarter. He scores a touchdown and kind of went out there and fought hard. Travion Henderson and his blocking, right? I mean, he had the most rushing yards in the day, and he scored some touchdowns, things of that nature, and it was fantastic. But some of the blocks that he did in blitz pickup, man, I mean, he was A1 in that. I mean, he was just stepping into guys, meeting linebackers at the line of scrimmage, giving his quarterback a chance to kind of make completions down the field. And then my MVP for the day is Emeka Ibuka, man. I mean, he obviously had the catches, at least 7 catches, 90-some yards, a touchdown. But if you just watch his film, I mean, he was going out there and really setting the tone against Michigan State DBs. Just kind of bullying them, man. I mean, he hit a guy early, put him on his back. He actually pulled in a counter play, hit a linebacker in the hole. Now, this is we talk about a potentially first-round wide receiver on a counter as the second puller. If anybody know anything about football, if it's a counter play, it's 2 pullers, right? You usually got a lineman first, and then usually it's a tight end that kind of pulls behind them. We did it with Emeka Ibuka, and he runs up in a hole, hit a linebacker, pissed him on his back, and we cut off his block for an explosive gain. And I just feel like, man, that was just fantastic to see that some of our veteran guys that understand Big Ten ball, who know it, who's been living it, been breathing it for years now, go out there on the road and set the tone with being physical in a physical game against Michigan State, and it's really setting the tone and letting the team know. When you go back and watch the film, everybody understands how you play a Big Ten game once you watch your leaders kind of go out there, your veterans go out there and play in that and set that tone in that manner, right?
Yeah, if you want to know what it takes to win a national championship, if you want to know what it takes to win a Big Ten championship, what it takes to beat a Michigan team, that's what it takes. Like, and obviously, I mean, we're gonna talk a lot about all the big plays that we saw, but every snap, just going with that type of mindset. If you didn't watch nothing else and just watch Emeka Ibuka every single snap, bro, Like you just watch him and extrapolate that and say, okay, if the rest of the team play like that, it's a guaranteed win because every play, the attention to detail, the focus, the hard hitting, the hard like that's the stuff I love to see. I love to watch, and Travion Henderson as well, man. Just being able to do some of that dirty work. That's the difference in winning some of these big games, and I love it, man. That was the way they played offensively, and the way they've been playing offensively, especially in the run game, has been impressive to watch. And it sets the tone, like you said, that we're going to be a team that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, if you're a young guy, you watching that, right? I mean, what else can you say? Like this guy who's could have went to the NFL last year, came back because he wanted more to prove, goes out there, and he's like, forget the catches, right? The catch was outstanding. The catch it after the run, that's fantastic. But he's out there putting his body on the line and really like tagging some guys, like playing behind his pass and making some blocks. I mean, it's very impressive, and you have to stand behind it. I wanted to shout out one more thing, an offensive line. Once again, I think I shouted them out last week because they play against Marshall, but now we're in the Big Ten, and we got to shout my boys out again, man. The blitz pickup, them like Michigan State ran some very complicated stuff, especially in known passing situations. Very easy to get tripped up, right? But I feel like our O-line has grown, especially from last year to this season, and understanding who they're accounted for on the second level. What linebackers are theirs, who are the main rushers, and getting a hat on those guys. And I feel like they did a fantastic job against Michigan State and like kind of locking up guys, giving our quarterbacks an opportunity, even in heavy blitzing situations, to still be able to make a play.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing because if you had asked anybody going into this year, what is your biggest concern about Ohio State? Like, what would be your biggest concern with all this talent? Everybody would have pointed to the offensive line.
That's right.
Everyone would have pointed to the offensive line. And we've done this show week after week, and we said we weren't really concerned much about the offensive line. We thought they were going to improve, but it's great to see it happen. It's great to see it happen. Everybody on the same page. You could tell there's leadership there, and then just playing through the whistle, man, guys. Just like we talked about with Ibuka, just playing hard. And you seeing that. It just shows what this team is made of, man. So I'm fired up about this team, man. Moving forward, man.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But if you think about before the season, Coach Day stated, that obviously we got the talent, we got the experience, we got the veterans, we got a solid roster. But I want my team to be known as being the hardest playing team, right? And I think James Leonard said something. It was some tweet, man. Once again, before the season, and we're talking about, all that's fine and dandy, but we need to be the most mentally tough team when it comes to playing in games and things of that nature. And this is how you do it, right? I mean, you go in the situation. Jonathan Smith is in his first year as a head coach, right? He's coaching Michigan State. Obviously, he got the Michigan State job as a promotion, right? He was doing well. He was coaching. He was winning. And due to that, he got a pay bump to go to Michigan State and coach the Spartans. So what better way to make your name for yourself on the conference by knocking off, the big dogs of the conference, it being Ohio State. You got a young, talented quarterback, and the guy's talented. I think we could both agree that guy, he's a pretty good player.
He has some talent.
Yeah, and if he keep improving, he most likely will play on Sundays. And they just didn't come in that game. It's like, we're just going to do what we usually do and see how it shakes up. No, they was planning and getting prepared to play Ohio State. Exotic blitz package. Complicated offense, kind of doing some things to trick your minds, to trick your eyes a little bit, and then hitting you with a quarterback with a strong throw. But our guys was up for the task, and I think, like I say, the veterans of the team who know Big Ten ball kind of set that tone, as in the rest of the team fell in line, as in our talent starts to peak up, right? Start hitting Jeremiah Smith for touchdowns. He started making amazing one-handed catches. And, we take care of business on the Big Ten. But this is the first test, and I feel like we did a great job at going out there and, once again, setting that tone for Big Ten play as we kind of get into it.
Yeah, so we went 14 minutes without mentioning Jeremiah Smith. But now it's time, bro. Now it's time. Yeah. And the game was on Peacock, man. So I made sure to retweet all the highlights, man, because I know some fans didn't have the game, right? They listening to it on the radio.
That's right.
But man, it was impressive to see it live. It was impressive to watch. and I kind of want to paint the picture, right? Because you know they were driving down the field. Will Howard. Um, I think that the defense was some type of cover two, right? And Jeremiah Smith, this is the first play. He runs what we call a 7 cut, kind of like a corner route, right? Trying to be behind the corner and in front of the safety. Right. But he's open. And that ball comes out a little bit late, but it's one of those things where, just throw it up. And it was like LeBron, right? It's like LeBron on a fast break. We just throw it up there in the vicinity. And he like jumps off of one leg and basically dunks on the two DBs, right? The safeties coming from top down, the corners underneath, and he jumps first, right? Usually like for me, like if somebody throws a ball, I'm timing it, and then I jump up and catch the ball. It seemed like he just jumped. And then while he was in the air, he kind of figured out, okay, I don't need both hands. I'm gonna go grab it with the one right here, and then he catches it. And that was impressive. So I immediately tweet like, this guy's an alien. Like,
yeah,
he just grew up on Earth.
Right? And hold on. Before you go to the next hit, don't forget the guy grabbed his face mask. Yeah. The safety come across and grabs his face mask in the middle of that one-handed catch.
In the middle,
so it was a difficulty to it.
It was a dunk and one, pretty much.
And one. That's what I'm saying, right?
So Will Howard gets knocked out the game. All right. Did they call it roughing the passer? Was it a roughing?
No, whatever. It was a clean hit. It was a clean hit.
Good, clean hit. So he gets knocked out the game. He's hurt. Devin Burner Boats Brown comes in the game, right? And the very next play, right? I'm not mistaken, right?
No, his first play. Yeah,
that first play, Michigan State, they end up in cover two again, but this time they disguise it so well. They got two linebackers standing in gaps, looking like they're gonna blitz. They got the nickel corner. They got all the corners pressed in man. They got the safety looking like they're rotated with a single safety in the middle of the field. And the nickel blitzes, and he times it up so perfectly that I think he's offsides. I got to imagine most people watching the game was like, that guy's offsides. So he comes unblocked initially, and Travion does a great job of scanning across and hitting them, buying time for Devin to kind of move to his right and throw that ball. And they're in the cover two. And the corner who's pressed on Jeremiah Smith gets a good jam on him, opens up, and he's really in good coverage. He's got to be the underneath guy, and he's like right underneath. The safety, he's the only guy on the entire defense that was not defensive line that didn't have to move in the disguise, right? He just got to stay where he was at. He's the guy over the top. And this is what the teams are going to have to figure out. Teams are going to have to figure out, how we can't really play cover two because the quarterback, all he has to do is throw the ball high and on the rope. So Devin moves to his right, throws a high ball to Jeremiah Smith, but he throws it like straight enough that safety can't just get over there. He doesn't put a ton of air on it, but he throws it high enough that the corner can't do anything about it. And the catch again, man, off 1 foot. And this is what the second one, the first one was just crazy impressive. The second one was so impressive to me because in the cover two, the corner is forcing the quarterback to put air underneath the ball by being underneath, right underneath. So you got to throw it high, and that buys time for the safety. Devin Brown throws the ball high. Jeremiah Smith is able to catch the ball in stride. He jumps off 1 foot, catches it in stride with one hand, and just continues to run for the touchdown.
Yeah.
What do you do? What do you do on defense?
It's nothing you can do. I mean, even Michigan State. It's a clip. It's a nice clip. It's going around like on Twitter, X, or you want to call it, and you just see like Michigan State fans on the sideline, mouth just in shock, like, oh my, like I can't believe that we're witnessing this. That he just made that catch, just one head on the sideline and striving it. I mean, it's nothing you could do. Sometimes I even I rarely tweet. If I tweet, it's usually a retweet. Right? So I even tweet like, man, this is why you get to get. This is why you do what it takes to get some of these big time wide receivers to Ohio State for situations like this, man. Because it's just it's special. Like that's the only way you just remember the time you seen Jeremiah Smith do that because this is just not some run of the mill. You're just not going to see this every week when it comes to football, not just even college football for that matter, for sure.
And I give credit to Devin Brown to be able to come in the very next play, at least hold the safety for a second, look straight down the middle of the field, hold the safety for a second, and then throw that ball to where he knows only one guy on the field can get it. And yeah, I thought the execution was perfect, but the finish was just it was like art.
Yeah.
It was like a masterpiece, man. So it's gonna be. I tweeted this at the beginning. I think after Western Michigan game, I tweeted, "Buckle up! It's gonna be a fun season." And yeah, it's starting out. It's starting out just like that.
Hey, did you catch the quote though? Jeremiah Smith said, "Hey." Did you hear the quote? I'm a butcher. It ain't gonna be word for word, but basically the gist of it was, "Hey, there is no 50-50 ball with me. Hey, it is out there. There's no 50-50 ball with me, man." And he goes out there, and obviously he's been doing it each Saturday here for Ohio State, man. But coming up this Saturday, man, we got a test. We got a test, right? We're playing the Iowa Hawkeyes are coming to town. Always being led by their defense, but they do have an improved offense this season. And obviously, Iowa is always in contention as a Big Ten. And they, for every reason, they always have like a weird loss to like Iowa State for every reason. But when it comes to Big Ten play, they always in contention. What do you think about the Iowa Hawkeyes coming to the shoe and what they would bring in as our next test?
Iowa is like the Big Ten team. Like if you think Big Ten football, the Iowa Hawkeyes are the perfect example of Big Ten football, and that's what they bring. Right, they're going to bring a good defense. They're going to bring a run game. They're going to bring a really good special teams play. They're going to love to punt. Like punt is going to be one of the most important. As Tressa used to say, punt's the most important play in football. Right, and that's what they do. They play the field position battle. They play sound defense, sound football. I don't know that their defense is to the same level that it was a year ago. I also. After watching Jeremiah Smith play this last game, the way they disguise coverage, teams may want to stop holding that disguise so long. They may want to go ahead and get lined up, man. Because you showing man-to-man single high safety, you actually inviting that type of play that even if you roll the cover two, it still can't be stopped. So you may want to line up, but they're going to be a tough Big Ten game. Obviously, Ohio State's the more talented team, and they're going to be coming and playing the shoe. I think it ends up somewhat similar to Michigan State, in my opinion. But I do think they're a little bit better team than Michigan State.
Yeah, and obviously Iowa is always coached up well, right? I mean, they've had the same coach Kirk Ferentz for umpteen years now. Always be a well-coached, tough team. They're led on offense by this is kind of important. They're led on offense by Cade McNair, who's a Michigan transfer. So he's played 3 seasons at the school up north. So. He understands. He really wants to beat Ohio State, right? I mean, that's basically in his blood by now. But obviously, he's the quarterback. But their real threat on offense is their running back Caleb Johnson, who's averaging over 8 yards a carry for the season. Last week against Minnesota, went for over 200 yards. So Iowa is definitely going to come in, like you say, want to control the clock. And really test. This is going to be obviously the biggest test we had so far this season when it comes to our run defense, and we're going to see how our guys hold up, right?
Yeah, and Cade McNamara, he doesn't run the ball as much, I would say, as some of these other quarterbacks. So we've struggled a little bit against that quarterback run, spread it out, quarterback run the ball. So really more of kind of the traditional. Running game from a running back. I mean, they're gonna run some RPO, different stuff with some stretches. So we'll see how we hold up there defensively. So I thought we had a good game defensively. I do think there's some improvement at the cornerback position and I expect those guys to continue to improve the way they're playing it. They're not playing it as aggressive in terms of the play call, but there's still some opportunity to improve there and at the linebacker position. So we'll see how they progress.
So. Yeah, and this week, hopefully, I know Tyleik Williams was cleared to play last week, didn't play, so hopefully this week he come back out there. Maybe he was just saving it for Iowa when he knows the running challenge will be definitely in heightened. But anything else around the Big Ten? I think Michigan. The refs helped Michigan win a game against Minnesota.
Yeah, the refs gave Michigan a boost, not calling offsides on an onside kick that Minnesota was clearly not offsides.
Not offsides.
And I'm curious, man. Michigan, I think they've proven so far that they're probably in that second tier, but after I thought they did at least by halftime with the Minnesota game. But by the end, I'm not so sure. I know Penn State is a perennial second tier team, right? And is Michigan up there with them? I don't know. Illinois playing good football. Nebraska's playing good football. Indiana's playing good football. I think they have a future.
First place Indiana, man.
First place Indiana is playing good football. So Michigan has some matchups against Illinois. Obviously, they're gonna have to play Oregon, I believe, at some point. I don't think they beat Oregon.
Yeah,
but some of those other teams,
I mean, this is all you need to. I mean, you're saying a lot of words there. You're saying a lot of words there, Chip. But what really comes down to what you need to know is that Michigan's going on the road to Washington this weekend, and obviously the people who job it is, right? A lot of money in gambling, as we know, when it comes to sports. The people who make that decision said, like, Michigan's going on the road against Washington. Washington, not really too many impressions. But they're the underdogs. Michigan in Vegas right now, Michigan is the underdog against a Washington Huskies team because it's a bubble waiting to pop right now when it comes to that team, man. That's all you need. That's all the world needs to know when it comes to that
you can't be a second tier team and be the underdog versus Washington. I don't care where you're playing them at. I don't care if you're playing them in the Seattle Seahawks Stadium or wherever. Like, you shouldn't be an underdog on the road, but that's a bet I might be willing to take.
Man. I don't know, man. We'll see, man. But yeah, also across college football, Alabama beat Georgia. We just saying it for the sake of it. We'll deal with those SEC guys at a later time.
Alabama always beats Georgia. They got mind control of Georgia.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. But we'll see. But that's our show for today. Trying to catch us this weekend. Might jump on live a little bit, trying to chit-chat the game. We didn't have opportunity this past weekend. My guy Chip was going to Vegas, man, to see this. Well, I want to say stomping ground, but to see his old team, more or less. Yeah. But, because you're an Oakland guy. But, whatever. Catch our show. Follow us on all platforms. We'll always be bringing Ohio State news. Talk to you guys soon. In the show with an OH.
Ayo.
Go Bucks. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.